Build a mind so strong that fear avoids you, doubt cannot touch you, and people feel your power before you speak. That's the standard we're talking about here. Not a little motivation, not temporary confidence, but a level of inner strength that makes you unshakable. Most people never reach it because they let comfort, emotions and opinions run their life. But if you're tired of being controlled by weakness, this is where everything changes. In this video, you'll learn how to train your mind step by step until it becomes sharper, tougher, and disciplined enough to take on anything. Stay with me, because once you understand how to build a mind so strong it scares people, you will never go back to the way you were living before. This is the knowledge that separates the average from the unstoppable. Chapter 1. Control your inner talk before it quietly destroys you. Your inner talk is the quiet voice that shapes the way you see yourself and the way you act every single day. If you want to build a mind so strong that people notice it without you saying a word, then you must learn to control that voice before it quietly destroys you. Most people never pay attention to what they say to themselves, and that's why they stay stuck. They wake up with doubt, carry worry all day, and go to bed with regret. And the cycle continues. But if you want a strong mind, you must break that cycle. The first step is awareness. You can't fix what you don't see. Start paying attention to the way you talk to yourself during the day. Notice when you criticize yourself, when you say you're not good enough, or when you tell yourself you'll probably fail. Those are not harmless thoughts. They shape your confidence, your decisions, and your future. If every day you repeat the same negative talk, you condition your mind to believe it. And when you believe it, you live it. The mind is not destroyed all at once, it's destroyed piece by the things you keep saying inside. That's why you need to take control. Now, how do you take control? You do it with intention. Every time you catch yourself saying something that tears you down, stop it. Replace it with something that builds you up. If you hear yourself saying, "I can't handle this," you replace it with, "I can figure this out step by step." If you hear yourself saying, "I'm not smart enough," you replace it with, "I'm still learning, and I'm getting better every day." This is not about lying to yourself. It's about telling yourself the truth in a way that makes you stronger, not weaker. The truth is, you can learn, you can grow, and you can improve. That's what you need to remind yourself of daily. Think about how powerful this is. If you speak words of defeat to yourself every day, you end up living a defeated life. If you speak words of strength to yourself every day, you build a stronger life. The difference between people who succeed and people who don't is not just in their skills or opportunities. It's in the conversation they keep inside their own head. The winners speak strength, the losers speak weakness. And every day, those conversations shape their destiny. When you start to take control of your inner talk, you will feel uncomfortable at first. You've been repeating the same lines for years, maybe even your whole life, telling yourself you're not enough, that you'll never get ahead, that you'll never change. But when you start to interrupt that pattern, you begin to rewire your mind. You are training your thoughts like you train your body. And just like exercise, the first few days feel strange, but the more you practice, the stronger you get. Another key is to build a strong vocabulary for your inner talk. Words matter. Weak words build a weak mind. Strong words build a strong mind. If you tell yourself, "I'm trying," you give yourself permission to quit. If you tell yourself, "I'm doing this," you give yourself no choice but to follow through. One word can change your mindset. So pay attention to the words you choose, because they shape the way you act. And here's something important: control doesn't mean ignoring reality. If you failed, admit it. If you're behind, admit it. But don't stop there. Add the second part. Say, "Yes, I failed, but I can try again." Say, "Yes, I'm behind, but I can catch up if I start now. A strong mind doesn't deny the truth. A strong mind faces the truth and then chooses a response that builds strength instead of weakness. You also need to be careful about the tone you use with yourself. Many people are harsher with themselves than they would ever be with someone they love. Imagine if a friend came to you and said, "I messed up at work. I don't think I'm good enough." Would you tell them, "You're right, you're worthless"? Of course not. But that's exactly what many people tell themselves daily. You need to become your own coach, not your own enemy. Speak to yourself with honesty, but also with encouragement. You can correct yourself without destroying yourself. Another practical way to control your inner talk is to set up daily check-ins. During the day, stop for a moment and ask yourself, "What am I saying to myself right now?" You'll be surprised how often the voice in your head is negative without you realizing it. Once you notice it, you have the power to shift it. Instead of, "I'll never finish this," say, "If I keep going, I'll get it done." Instead of, "I always make mistakes," say, "Mistakes are proof I'm trying, and I can learn." The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. Now think about the long-term effect. If you spend 1 year controlling your inner talk, how much stronger will your mind be compared to someone who spends the same year tearing themselves down? The difference will be massive. One person will walk into a room with confidence and presence. The other will shrink, even if they have the same abilities. The one who controlled their inner talk will scare people with their strength, not because they're arrogant, but because their presence speaks louder than words. And remember this, the world will try to plant thoughts in your mind too. Social media, television, other people, they all put voices in your head. Some of those voices are toxic. They tell you you're not enough, you don't measure up, you'll never get there. If you don't control your inner talk, you'll start repeating those voices as if they're your own. You'll start believing lies that were never yours to begin with. That's why you must filter what you allow in, and you must strengthen your inner voice until it's louder than all the noise outside. You want a mind so strong it scares people. Then you must master this one thing: never allow your inner talk to destroy you. Because that's how most people lose. They don't get defeated by the world. They get defeated by themselves. The mind collapses before the body does. The spirit gives up before the opportunity arrives. But when you control your inner talk, you build armor around your thoughts. You stay calm when others panic. You stay strong when others quit. You keep moving when others stand still. So here's what you do starting today. Pay attention to your inner talk. Interrupt the weak lines. Replace them with strong ones. Speak to yourself with words that make you grow, not shrink. Choose words that build, not break. Do this every day. Do it in the morning when you wake up, during the day when you face challenges, and at night before you sleep. Make it a daily habit. And little by little, you will notice your confidence rising, your discipline sharpening, and your strength becoming unshakable. And one day, you'll walk into a room and people will feel it. They won't know exactly what it is, but they'll sense that you're different. They'll sense that your mind is not weak, not fragile, not easily shaken. They'll see that your mind is strong, calm, and controlled. And that strength will set you apart, because most people never learn to control their inner talk. But you will. This is where it all begins. Before you build wealth, before you build success, before you build anything lasting, you must build your mind. And that starts with the conversation you have with yourself when nobody else is listening. Control your inner talk before it quietly destroys you. Build it daily, strengthen it daily, protect it daily. Because the strongest mind is not built by chance, it's built by choice. Chapter 2. Face discomfort until your mind stops craving the easy way. Most people spend their lives avoiding discomfort. They look for shortcuts, easier paths, softer choices. They try to keep everything safe and predictable. But the truth is, a safe life makes a weak mind. If you want to build a mind so strong it scares people, you must train yourself to face discomfort until your mind no longer craves the easy way. Strength is not built in the moments when everything feels smooth. Strength is built when you face something that makes you nervous, uncertain, or uncomfortable, and you keep moving forward anyway. Discomfort is not the enemy. Discomfort is a signal. It tells you that you are stepping into growth. It tells you that you are doing something your old self wouldn't do. And it is in those moments, when you step beyond the easy road, that your mind begins to change. A weak mind looks for relief. A strong mind looks for challenge. And the only way to shift from one to the other is to put yourself deliberately in uncomfortable situations until they no longer scare you. Think about your daily life. The alarm rings in the morning. The easy way is to hit snooze, roll over, and get more sleep. The uncomfortable way is to get up immediately and take charge of the day. When you choose the easy way, you weaken your discipline without realizing it. When you choose discomfort, you strengthen your willpower. Each small choice builds the direction of your mind, and over time, those choices determine whether you are fragile or powerful. Facing discomfort doesn't mean punishing yourself. It means refusing to live soft. It means refusing to stay in the little circle where everything feels familiar. That circle is where growth dies. When you stay in comfort, you stop learning, you stop improving, you stop pushing yourself. A strong mind is built by walking beyond that circle every single day. That might mean speaking up when you're afraid to, doing the work when you're tired, starting the project when you feel unprepared, or saying no when it would be easier to say yes. Every time you choose discomfort, you build new mental muscle. Discomfort also exposes the lies your mind tells you. Your mind will say, "This is too much for me. I can't handle this. It will be easier to stop." But when you face that discomfort and keep going, you prove those thoughts wrong. You show yourself that you are capable of far more than you thought. The next time discomfort shows up, your mind remembers that you already survived it once, and it no longer has the same power over you. That is how you slowly kill the craving for the easy way. Most people spend their energy avoiding discomfort, but the irony is that avoiding discomfort only makes life harder in the long run. If you avoid the gym today because it feels tough, you face health problems later. If you avoid studying today because it feels boring, you face regret later. If you avoid difficult conversations today because they feel awkward, you face broken relationships later. By running from discomfort now, you create bigger pain later. The strong know this, and that's why they embrace the discomfort now. They understand that it's temporary and it pays off. You can start training your mind by making small changes. Take the stairs when the elevator is right there. Speak up in the meeting when you'd rather stay silent. Push out one more repetition at the gym when your body says stop. Stay with the work for another hour when you feel like walking away. These small acts of discomfort are not just physical, they are psychological training. They tell your brain that you are in control, not your craving for ease. And the more you do it, the stronger you feel. There is something powerful that happens when you choose discomfort on purpose. It builds confidence in a way nothing else can. You start to trust yourself because you know you can handle the hard things. You no longer fear challenges because you've trained yourself to face them. And when other people see you walk straight into difficulty without flinching, they notice something different about you. They see a mind that doesn't break easily. They see someone who can stay steady when the world gets tough. That kind of strength is rare, and it demands respect. Discomfort also teaches you patience. The easy way is fast. It gives you instant gratification, but it rarely leads to anything meaningful. Discomfort, on the other hand, takes time. It asks you to stay longer, endure more, and keep going when results don't show up immediately. Patience built through discomfort is what separates those who give up quickly from those who reach something extraordinary. Your ability to tolerate discomfort without running away is directly tied to your ability to create a strong, unshakable life. The mind learns by repetition. If you keep choosing comfort, the mind gets addicted to it. If you keep choosing discomfort, the mind gets addicted to growth. That's why your daily habits matter more than occasional big decisions. Every day, you are either training your mind to run or training your mind to rise. A strong mind is not born in one moment of courage. It is born in thousands of small moments where you chose discomfort over ease. Think about the people you admire, the ones who have power in their presence, the ones whose minds seem untouchable. They didn't get there by choosing the soft way every day. They got there by facing the workouts, the failures, the rejections, the early mornings, the lonely nights, the criticism, and the pressure. While others escaped into comfort, they stayed with the discomfort until it stopped controlling them. That's why they are strong, and that's why others follow them. There is another side to this. If you never face discomfort, you will always live with fear. Fear grows in comfort. When you never step outside your safe zone, your mind convinces you that the world outside is dangerous. But when you step into discomfort regularly, fear loses its grip. The things that once terrified you become normal. Speaking in front of people, taking risks, working long hours, making bold decisions, all of it becomes part of you. And when fear no longer controls you, your strength becomes undeniable. The challenge for you is to reframe the way you see discomfort. Stop looking at it as something to avoid and start seeing it as the path to becoming unshakable. When discomfort shows up, don't run. Lean into it. Breathe through it. Remind yourself that this is how strength is built. Remind yourself that every time you embrace it, you are one step closer to a mind that others can't break. This shift doesn't happen in a week. It doesn't happen in a month. It's a lifelong practice. But each day you face discomfort, your mind changes a little more. And eventually, something remarkable happens. You stop craving the easy way. The temptation to take shortcuts loses its pull. The desire to stay safe feels boring. You begin to crave growth, challenge, and progress instead. That is when you know your mind has transformed. That is when you know you are on your way to unshakable strength. So start small, but start today. Pick one thing you've been avoiding because it feels uncomfortable and face it. Push yourself just a little further than you did yesterday. Train your mind to see discomfort as the door, not the wall. Over time, you will build a foundation so solid that the easy way no longer appeals to you. Your identity shifts from someone who avoids challenge to someone who thrives in it. And when that shift happens, people will notice. They will see it in the way you carry yourself. They will feel it in your presence. They will realize that your mind is not like theirs, that you no longer live for comfort, that you have built something far stronger. And that strength, once developed, will stay with you for the rest of your life. This is the work of building a mind so strong it scares people. It begins with facing discomfort again and again until your mind stops begging for ease and starts demanding growth. Once you reach that point, you will no longer be controlled by the pull of comfort. You will have built a mind that is calm, confident, resilient, and unshakable. And that is the kind of mind that changes everything.
Chapter 3. Discipline yourself when nobody is watching your choices. Discipline is the real test of strength, and the truth is, it shows up most when nobody is around to see you. Anyone can act disciplined when there is a crowd watching, when praise is on the line, or when there is a reward waiting at the end. But the discipline that builds a mind so strong it scares people happens in the quiet hours, in the private decisions, in the small moments when no one is there to applaud you. It's the choice you make late at night. It's the decision you take in the morning. It's what you do with your time when nobody will ever find out. That's the difference between people who appear strong and people who are truly strong. When nobody is watching, the temptation to cut corners is high. You think, no one will know if I skip this workout. Nobody cares if I waste this hour scrolling. Nobody will ever see me eating this junk food. Nobody notices if I ignore the book I said I would read. And in one sense, you're right. Nobody else sees, but there is one person who sees everything. You. And the truth is, the mind remembers every choice you make. Every time you break your word to yourself, your self-trust gets weaker. And when your self-trust weakens, so does your strength. A strong mind cannot exist without self-trust. Discipline in private builds a character that is unshakable in public. The man or woman who trains themselves to stay true when nobody else is there develops a deep kind of respect for themselves. That respect is not visible to the outside world at first, but it shapes the way you carry yourself, the way you think, and the way you respond to pressure. When you know you can depend on yourself, you carry a quiet confidence that others feel. They may not know why, but they sense that your mind is different. Discipline is not about punishment. It is about alignment. It is about making your actions match your goals. If you say you want health, then your choices with food, exercise, and rest must reflect it. If you say you want success, then your hours must be invested in skill building, learning, and work that takes you closer to it. If you say you want strength, then you must face discomfort, not avoid it. The challenge is simple. Do your private actions align with the life you say you want? If they don't, then you are only pretending. The danger with pretending is that it looks good for a while, but it collapses under pressure. You might fool others for a time, but you cannot fool yourself. And when life tests you, when real difficulty shows up, the truth is exposed. If you have been disciplined in private, you will stand firm. If you haven't, you will fold. That's why private discipline matters more than public image. Because in the end, the truth always comes out. To discipline yourself when nobody is watching, you need to create systems. Relying on motivation alone is not enough. Motivation fades. Discipline stays. Systems are simple habits and rules that guide your behavior when nobody is there to check on you. For example, if you want to wake up early, set a bedtime routine that forces you to sleep on time. If you want to eat clean, remove junk food from your house so the temptation is gone. If you want to study daily, schedule it like an appointment and treat it as non-negotiable. Systems remove the need for constant willpower, and they make discipline easier to maintain in private. Another critical part of private discipline is honesty. Be brutally honest with yourself. When you fail to keep a promise, don't excuse it. Admit it, face it, and then correct it. Excuses are the enemy of discipline because they let you avoid responsibility. Every time you excuse yourself, you train your mind to believe that weakness is acceptable. Discipline grows when you admit the truth, even if it stings, and then do better the next time. Honesty builds integrity, and integrity is the foundation of a strong mind. Discipline also requires clarity. If you don't know what you want, your private actions will always wander. Decide what matters most to you. Decide the standards you want to live by. Write them down. Define them so clearly that there is no confusion. Then, in those private moments, measure your actions against those standards. Did you live up to them today? Did you lower them when nobody was looking? Clarity makes discipline easier because it removes the gray areas. Without clarity, your mind will always negotiate with comfort. With clarity, the decision becomes simple. Either you lived by your standard or you didn't. The strength you gain from private discipline shows up in surprising ways. It shows up in your patience when others get frustrated, It shows up in your confidence when others doubt themselves. It shows up in your persistence when others quit. People may not see the hundreds of private decisions you made, but they will see the results. They will see that you are steady, consistent, and reliable. They will feel that you are different. That difference comes from the small battles you fought in silence. Private discipline also protects you from regret. Nothing eats the mind faster than knowing you could have done better, but chose not to. Regret is the cost of undisciplined living. And the worst part is, regret doesn't go away easily. It stays. It whispers to you in the quiet moment. It reminds you of what you gave up for comfort. On the other hand, discipline in private builds pride. Not the kind of pride that boasts, but the kind that sits deep inside and tells you, I can trust myself. I keep my word. That kind of pride is powerful. There will be times when you feel nobody cares about your discipline, and that can make it harder to keep going. But remember, you are not building discipline for them. You are building it for you. You are building it so you can carry a mind that doesn't break. You are building it so you can look in the mirror and respect what you see. You are building it so when life gets tough, you know you have the strength to endure. Others may never notice your discipline in private, but they will always notice the strength it creates in public. Self-discipline, when nobody is watching, is also the root of freedom. Without discipline, you become a slave to your impulses. Whatever feels good in the moment controls you. But with discipline, you control your impulses instead of being controlled by them. That control gives you freedom. Freedom to live the life you want, instead of the life your weaknesses dictate. Freedom to say no when you need to. Freedom to stay the course when distractions call. That kind of freedom is rare, but it is priceless. The test of private discipline will come every day. It will come when the alarm rings and you decide whether to get up. It will come when you sit down to work and decide whether to focus or drift. It will come when you are tired and decide whether to follow through or quit. Each of those moments is a test, and each choice is a vote for the kind of person you are becoming. Weak minds fail the test when nobody is around. Strong minds pass the test no matter who is watching. And here's the most important part. Nobody can give you this discipline. You must give it to yourself. You can be inspired by others, but in the end it is you who makes the choice. That's what makes it powerful. It's not handed to you, it's earned through daily practice, through small victories, through private wins that nobody celebrates but you. That's how a strong mind is built. If you truly want to discipline yourself when nobody is watching, start with one commitment today. Choose one area of your life where you know you've been cutting corners in private. Make a clear promise to yourself. Keep it. Prove to yourself that you can be trusted. Then choose another area. Build from there. Day by day, choice by choice, you will create a pattern of private discipline that changes the way you see yourself. And when that shift happens, others will notice. They will notice the strength in your eye. They will notice the steadiness in your presence. They will sense that you don't waver easily, that your mind is anchored. And the reason will be simple. You trained yourself in the silence, in the dark, in the unnoticed hour. You built a mind of discipline when nobody was watching. And that strength now speaks louder than any words. That is how you build a mind so strong it scares people. Not with speeches, not with appearances, but with the private choices that nobody else will ever see. Because in the end, the strongest discipline is not about who you are in public. It's about who you are when you are completely alone. That is where strength is born. And that is where the foundation of an unshakable life is built.
Chapter 4. Refuse emotional reactions and act only with clear mind. One of the hardest tests for the human mind is keeping control when emotions start to rise.
Anger, frustration, jealousy, fear, anxiety. These emotions can take over fast if you don't train yourself to handle them. They push you to act without thinking, to say things you later regret, to make decisions that damage your future. If you want to build a mind that feels unshakable, you must learn to refuse emotional reactions and act only with a clear mind. This is not about becoming cold or shutting off your feelings. It's about gaining the strength to lead your emotions instead of being led by them. Think about the last time you reacted in anger. Maybe you raised your voice at someone. Maybe you sent a message you shouldn't have. Maybe you made a decision in the heat of the moment that cost you later. In that moment, your emotions were in charge, not your reason. A strong mind doesn't allow that. A strong mind feels the emotion, acknowledges it, but doesn't hand it the steering wheel. Instead, it pauses, breathes, and waits until clarity returns. Then it acts. This kind of control takes training because emotions are fast. They arrive in your body before your logical mind has time to respond. Your heart rate goes up, your chest tightens, your voice sharpens, your thoughts race. If you do not have a system in place, you will get caught in the wave and swept away by it. But if you have trained yourself to pause, to breathe and to wait, you create space between the emotion and your response. In that space, your power grows. Why is this so important? Because most of life's biggest regrets come from emotional reactions. People ruin relationships in a burst of anger. They lose opportunities because they let fear guide them. They waste years because they follow jealousy or resentment. Emotions make terrible leaders, but powerful servants. They are meant to inform you, not control you. Anger might tell you something is unfair. Fear might warn you to be careful. But only your clear mind should decide how you respond. That separation is what makes the difference between a strong person and a fragile one. Training yourself to refuse emotional reactions starts with awareness. The moment you feel the heat rise in your body, recognize it, name it. This is anger. This is fear. This is frustration. By naming it, you separate yourself from it. You remind yourself that the emotion is not who you are. It is just a signal. After awareness comes control of the body. Slow your breathing, loosen your shoulders, relax your jaw. When the body calms, the mind begins to clear. It may take a few minutes, sometimes longer, but the more you practice, the quicker it happens. A clear mind sees what an emotional mind cannot. In anger, you see only the insult. In calm, you see the bigger picture. In fear, you see only the threat. In calm, you see the opportunity hidden behind it. In frustration, you see only what's wrong. In calm, you see what can be fixed. The clear mind doesn't deny the problem. It simply chooses the smartest response. And that's why refusing emotional reactions makes you powerful. You make decisions based on strength, not weakness. Another key is preparation. You already know the triggers that usually spark your emotions. It might be a certain person, a certain situation, a certain pressure. Prepare for it in advance. Decide how you will act when it shows up. When you prepare ahead of time, you take away the element of surprise. For example, if you know a coworker irritates you, plan your response before you enter the meeting. If you know traffic makes you angry, decide beforehand how you'll stay calm. Preparation is discipline applied to emotion. It's also useful to set standards for yourself. Make a personal rule. I don't respond while angry. I don't send messages when upset. I don't make decisions when afraid. These rules protect you from yourself. They act as a shield when emotions rise. They give you something solid to hold on to while the wave passes. Without standards, your emotions will drag you in any direction. With standards, you stay grounded. The benefits of this kind of control reach every part of life. In relationships, refusing emotional reactions allows you to communicate instead of attack. Instead of shouting, you listen. Instead of shutting down, you explain. That builds trust, and trust is the foundation of lasting relationship. In business, a clear mind helps you make smart decisions under pressure. While others panic, you stay calm. That makes you reliable, and reliability creates respect. In personal growth, this control keeps you moving forward instead of being derailed by every frustration or setback. But there's more to it than just control. Refusing emotional reactions actually rewires the brain over time. Each time you resist the urge to react, you strengthen the neural pathways of patience and clarity. Each time you give in, you strengthen the pathways of impulse and weakness. Your mind becomes what you train it to be. With enough practice, calm becomes your default. When that happens, you stop being shaken by small things. People who once knew how to push your buttons no longer succeed. Life still brings pressure, but it no longer controls you. That is the mark of a strong mind. The process will not be easy. There will be times you fail. You will react emotionally and regret it. But don't use that as proof you cannot change. Use it as practice. Review the moment. Ask yourself, what triggered me? Where did I lose control? What could I have done differently? Each failure becomes a lesson. Each lesson makes you stronger for the next test. Strength is not built by perfection. It is built by consistent practice, even through mistakes. Another layer to this strength is learning how to channel emotions productively. Refusing emotional reactions doesn't mean ignoring emotions. It means guiding them into useful action. Anger can drive you to fix injustice. Fear can push you to prepare more. Frustration can remind you that you care deeply about something. But this only works when you act with a clear mind, not in the heat of the reaction. The emotion gives you the signal. The clear mind decides the strategy. You will also notice that when you live this way, your presence changes. People will sense that you don't get rattled easily. They will notice that you don't explode under pressure, that you don't panic when others panic, that you don't get pulled into emotional chaos. That calm presence itself is power. People trust leaders who stay composed. They respect individuals who act with clarity. They are unsettled by someone who cannot be manipulated by emotional triggers. That is when your mind begins to carry the weight of strength that others can feel. To practice daily, start with small delays. When you feel the urge to react, delay by 30 seconds. Count your breath. Ask yourself, what is the best response here? With time, extend that delay to a few minutes, an hour, even a day, if needed. The longer the pause, the more space for your clear mind to guide you. Soon, you will realize that most emotional reactions are necessary. You don't need to argue about everything. You don't need to fight every battle. You don't need to prove yourself in every moment. You choose when and how to act, and that choice makes you free. Over time, your life changes because of this practice. Conflicts reduce, regrets lessen, your relationships deepen, your decisions improve, and most importantly, your sense of inner control grows. You start to feel unshakable, because you know nothing outside of you has the power to dictate your action. That kind of strength is rare, and it is the hallmark of a mind that has been trained, disciplined, and sharpened. Building a mind so strong it scares people is not about removing all emotions. It's about never being enslaved by them. It's about feeling them fully, but refusing to let them control your actions. It's about choosing clarity over chaos, strategy over impulse, wisdom over reaction. That choice, made day after day, transforms you. And when the transformation is complete, your strength will no longer need to be announced. It will be felt in the way you speak, in the way you act, and in the way you stay calm in storms that break others. That is the essence of a strong mind, one that refuses emotional reactions and acts only with a clear mind. Chapter 5. Direct your energy daily into goals that truly matter. Every person wakes up each day with a certain amount of energy. You may not see it, but it's there, like fuel in a tank. The question is never whether you have energy. The real question is, where are you spending it? If you pour that energy into things that don't matter, you end the day tired but empty, busy but unfulfilled, exhausted but without progress. If you want to build a mind so strong it scares people, you must learn to direct your energy daily into goals that truly matter. Most people spread themselves thin across too many distractions. They pour their focus into gossip, into entertainment, into complaints, into comparing themselves with others. They work hard on the things that make no difference to their future. Then they wonder why they feel stuck. The truth is, you don't run out of energy because life is too demanding. You run out of energy because you keep leaking it into meaningless places. A strong mind is built by guarding that energy like treasure and investing it into what brings real growth, real success, and real fulfillment. Directing your energy begins with clarity. You must know what matters to you, not to your friends, not to your parents, not to society, but to you. Ask yourself, what kind of life do I want? What goals would make this year meaningful? What habits would make me stronger in 5 years? Without clear answers, you'll drift, and drifting consumes energy without giving results. Once you are clear, everything changes. Each day becomes a choice. Does this action take me closer to my goal, or is it just a distraction wearing a mask of importance? Energy is limited, so you cannot afford to waste it. Think of how many small decisions drain you each day. Scrolling aimlessly through your phone, saying yes to tasks you don't care about, giving attention to arguments that don't matter, spending hours on entertainment that leaves you with nothing. By the time you get to what really matters, you are too drained to give your best. That cycle weakens the mind. It conditions you to live in reaction instead of creation. A strong mind breaks that cycle by making sure the best hours, the best focus, and the best energy are poured into meaningful goals first. The way to do this is simple but not easy. Each day, identify the 1 or 2 actions that truly move your life forward. Not 10, not 20, just the most important ones. Then protect your energy for them. Do them when your mind is fresh. Do them when your body has strength. Do them before the noise of the world takes over. This is how you create momentum. Small steps, done daily, with full energy, directed toward what matters most. Over time, this momentum becomes unstoppable. One trap that destroys energy is constant multitasking. The mind is not built to split its focus across 10 different things at once. Every time you switch tasks, you pay a price in energy, and the more you switch, the more drained you feel. That's why people can spend hours working and achieve very little. Their energy is scattered. A strong mind learns to focus fully on one thing at a time, to give all its power to the task at hand. That's where results come from. That's where progress feels real. It's also important to cut out the things that waste energy, without you noticing. Worry is one of the biggest drains. Worry consumes hours, but never produces solutions. Complaining does the same. It burns energy but creates no progress. Comparing yourself with others eats your strength without giving you growth. These are silent thieves of energy, and unless you eliminate them, you'll always feel weak. Replace worry with action. Replace complaining with problem solving. Replace comparison with self-improvement. That shift alone will save you more energy than you realize. Directing energy into meaningful goals is not just about achievement, it's about identity. Every time you act in line with your goals, you tell yourself who you are. If you write daily, you begin to see yourself as a writer. If you train daily, you begin to see yourself as an athlete. If you study daily, you begin to see yourself as a learner. Your energy creates your identity, and your identity creates your future. This is why scattered energy creates confusion about who you are, while focused energy builds certainty and strength. You must also understand the cost of saying yes to the wrong things. Every yes is also a no. When you say yes to an empty distraction, you are saying no to progress. When you say yes to pleasing others, you are saying no to building yourself. Discipline is not just about what you do, it's about what you refuse to do. A strong mind is willing to disappoint others if it means staying true to its own goals. Weak minds chase approval. Strong minds chase growth. To make this practical, imagine you have 3 jars of energy each day, one for health, one for growth, one for contribution. If you pour into health, you exercise, eat well, rest properly. That energy multiplies because it gives you strength for everything else. If you pour into growth, you learn, practice, and sharpen your skills. That energy multiplies because it raises your value. If you pour into contribution, you build, serve, or create something that adds value beyond yourself. That energy multiplies because it makes your life meaningful. But if you pour your energy into endless distraction, into laziness, into avoidance, those jars stay empty. And at the end of the day, you wonder why you feel weak. One reason people struggle is they confuse being busy with being effective. They think because they are moving all day, they are making progress. But busyness without direction is wasted energy. It makes you tired without moving you forward. To direct energy effectively, you must measure results, not effort. Ask yourself, what did I actually move forward today? Did my actions bring me closer to the life I want? If the answer is no, then you know you need to realign. Strong minds also learn to recharge their energy wisely. Rest is not laziness. Rest is preparation. But the difference between rest and distraction is purpose. Rest rebuilds energy for tomorrow's goals. Distraction drains energy without rebuilding anything. Choose rest that restores you. Good sleep, time in silence, reflection, exercise. These things refill your tank. Then when the new day comes, you have the energy to invest again, where it matters most. You must treat your energy like currency. Imagine you start every day with a certain number of dollars. Where are you spending them? Do you throw them away on things that give no return, or do you invest them where they multiply? Every time you choose wisely, your investment grows. Every time you choose poorly, your account runs dry. Over months and years, those choices determine whether you are rich in strength or bankrupt in potential. Directing energy into meaningful goals is not glamorous. It doesn't always bring instant rewards, but over time, the compounding effect is massive. Imagine where you'd be in 1 year if you directed just 2 focused hours every day into your biggest goal. That's over 700 hours in a year, enough to master a skill, build a business, transform your health, or change your financial future. Yet most people never do it because they leak those hours into distractions that don't matter. A strong mind sees this clearly and refuses to waste its power. The satisfaction that comes from directing your energy into goals that matter is unlike anything else. At the end of the day, you feel tired, but proud, drained but fulfilled, spent but stronger. That kind of fatigue is not weakness. It's the proof that your energy went to something real. It builds self-respect. And self-respect is one of the deepest sources of confidence. You cannot fake it. You can only earn it. And you earn it by using your daily energy wisely. When you live this way, people notice. They see that your life is not scattered. They sense that your time is not wasted. They recognize that your focus is sharp. Your actions are deliberate. Your progress is steady. That presence alone creates influence. Others may not see the private choices you made, but they feel the result of them. And that result is a mind that feels solid, disciplined, and powerful. This is the way to build strength that lasts. Guard your energy each day. Direct it only into the goals that matter. Cut out the leaks. Protect your best hours. Invest in your growth. Contribute to something greater. Repeat it every single day. Over time, the easy way will lose its pull. Distractions will fade, and your life will align with your highest goals. That alignment is strength. That focus is power. That daily discipline is what creates a mind so strong, it can no longer be ignored. Chapter 6. Detach from approval so no opinion can weaken you. One of the greatest traps in life is the constant hunger for approval. From a young age you are trained to seek it. You get praised for good grades, you get clapped for achievements, you get validation when people like what you do. Slowly, without even realizing it, your sense of worth becomes tied to what others think of you. The danger is that once you depend on approval, you become fragile. You rise when people praise you, and you fall when they criticize you. If you want a mind that is unshakable, you must detach from approval so no opinion can weaken you. Approval feels good, but it is a dangerous drug. It keeps you chasing external validation instead of building inner strength. You start adjusting your choices to fit expectations, not truth. You start silencing your real thoughts because you're afraid of judgment. You start living a smaller life because you want everyone to be comfortable with you. The cost is high. You sacrifice your growth for the comfort of others. The people you seek approval from may not even care about you deeply, yet their opinions dictate your confidence. That is a weak way to live, and it breaks the mind over time. A strong mind understands this truth. Opinions are everywhere, but they do not define you. People will always have something to say. Some will praise, some will criticize, some will misunderstand, some will judge. If you allow every opinion to enter your mind, you will never have peace. Detaching from approval means building an inner foundation so strong that whether you are praised or criticized, you remain steady. Praise doesn't inflate you, and criticism doesn't crush you. You move forward based on your values, your goals, and your standards, not on applause or rejection. To detach from approval, you must first recognize the cost of needing it. Every time you seek approval, you give away control. You let others hold the strings to your self-worth. If they approve, you feel high. If they disapprove, you feel low. That means you are not living free. You are living as a puppet of opinions. Detachment is about cutting those strings and taking back control. It is about saying, I will not let the shifting views of others decide my worth or my direction. One practical way to build this strength is to decide whose opinion truly matters. Not everyone deserves a voice in your life. Ask yourself, who has earned the right to influence me? Whose life reflects wisdom, discipline, and integrity? Those are the people whose feedback can help you grow. But the casual opinions of strangers, the gossip of peers, the judgment of people who don't even know your struggle, those cannot be allowed to guide you. When you filter whose voices you allow in, you protect your energy and your confidence. You also need to practice living with disapproval. It may sound uncomfortable, but it's essential. Say what you believe, even if someone disagrees. Make a decision that aligns with your values, even if people criticize it. Refuse to explain yourself to everyone. Each time you survive disapproval, you weaken its hold over you. You begin to realize that disapproval is not deadly. The world doesn't end when someone doesn't like you. And with time you stop fearing it altogether. Another key is to focus on self-approval. Ask yourself each day, am I living true to my values? Did I keep my promises to myself? Did I give my best effort? If the answer is yes, then that is enough. Self-approval builds a deep kind of confidence that no outside opinion can touch. When you trust yourself, the noise outside no longer controls you. You don't need others to clap for you, because you already know you are on the right path. It's also important to understand the nature of opinions. Most people judge based on their own limitations, not your potential. If someone says you can't do something, what they often mean is that they can't imagine themselves doing it. Their judgment is a reflection of their mind, not yours. Once you realize this, opinions lose their power. You no longer see them as truth, you see them as noise, and noise cannot weaken you, unless you choose to listen. Detaching from approval also means being willing to stand alone. There will be times when your vision, your goals or your values don't match the crowd. In those moments, you must choose between fitting in and staying true. Weak minds choose the crowd because they fear being alone. Strong minds choose the truth, even if it means standing apart. And the irony is, those who dare to stand alone eventually gain the deepest respect, because people recognize the rare strength it takes. You can practice this by making small stands each day. Say no when you want to say no, even if it disappoints someone. Express your honest opinion in a conversation, even if others disagree. Take action on a goal you believe in, even if nobody supports it at first. These small acts of detachment build resilience. Over time, you stop bending under pressure, and you start standing tall under it. Another danger of approval seeking is that it makes you easy to manipulate. People who crave approval are easy to control. Offer them praise, and they'll do what you want. Threaten them with criticism, and they'll retreat. But when you detach from approval, manipulation loses its grip. Nobody can lure you with fake compliments, and nobody can control you with disapproval. You become independent in the truest sense, and that independence is power. A mind that doesn't crave approval is also free to take risks. Many people never try new things because they fear judgment. They never speak their ideas because they worry about being laughed at. They never chase big goals because they don't want to be criticized if they fail. But if you detach from approval, you remove that barrier. You act boldly, because you know that opinions are temporary, but growth is permanent. You chase your goals with courage, and that courage builds a reputation of strength. It's worth remembering that no matter what you do, someone will disapprove. Stay quiet and people will say you lack courage. Speak up, and people will say you talk too much. Work hard, and people will call you obsessed. Take it easy, and people will call you lazy. You cannot win the game of universal approval, so stop playing it. Play the game of truth instead. Align your life with your values, your growth, your purpose. Let opinions come and go like passing weather. They are not the measure of your worth. The deeper you live this way, the more unshakable you become. Criticism rolls off you. Praise doesn't distract you. You remain steady in your path. That steadiness itself is intimidating, because most people are easily swayed by others' views. When they see someone unmoved by approval or disapproval, they sense uncommon strength. That is the kind of strength that makes people respect you without you asking for it. Detachment does not mean arrogance. It does not mean ignoring all feedback. It means listening without dependence. You can hear feedback, you can learn from it, but you do not need it to feel strong. You are already whole without it. That balance keeps you humble and powerful at the same time. At the end of the day, your life belongs to you. Nobody else will live with the consequences of your choices. Nobody else will pay the price for your wasted years. Nobody else will feel the regret of the goals you abandoned. So why should their opinions carry so much weight? Live in a way that you respect. Build a life that reflects your values. Let that be your anchor. When you do, you no longer chase claps. You no longer fear criticism. You act with clarity, with confidence, with courage, and people feel it. They see that your strength does not rise or fall with their approval. They see that your confidence is rooted deep inside, and that kind of presence cannot be ignored. That is the presence of a mind so strong it cannot be shaken by the noise of others. This is how you detach from approval, so no opinion can weaken you. You stop chasing, you stop bending, you stop depending, you build self-approval, you practice standing alone, you filter whose voices you listen to, and you train yourself to stay steady through both praise and rejection. Over time you become free, and that freedom is what makes your mind unbreakable. Chapter 7. Use struggle as training to grow sharper and tougher. Struggle is a part of life that no one can escape. You cannot avoid it, you cannot hide from it, and you cannot live without it. But there is a choice in how you deal with it. Most people see struggle as punishment. They complain, they feel sorry for themselves, they try to escape it. A strong mind looks at struggle differently. It sees struggle as training, as a tool that sharpens the mind, toughens the spirit, and builds a foundation that nothing can break. If you want to grow sharper and tougher, you must use every struggle as practice, not as punishment. The truth is, you do not grow when life is easy. Ease makes you soft, comfort makes you fragile. Growth requires resistance. Just as a blade becomes sharper by grinding against stone, the mind becomes sharper by facing difficulties head-on. Every problem, every obstacle, every setback is a chance to build strength you did not have before. Weak minds break under struggle because they see it as unfair. Strong minds grow through struggle because they see it as necessary. That perspective makes all the difference. Think about a time you faced a challenge that felt overwhelming. Maybe it was financial trouble. Maybe it was rejection. Maybe it was failure in something important. At the time it felt heavy, painful, maybe even unbearable. But if you look back now, you will see that it forced you to change. It forced you to learn. It forced you to dig deeper than you ever would have if things had been easy. That is the gift of struggle. It pushes you into growth that you would never choose voluntarily. And if you are wise, you stop resisting it and start using it. To use struggle as training, you must shift the way you think about it. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this teaching me?" That small change in question flips the entire experience. Struggle goes from being a curse to being a lesson. It becomes a teacher, one of the best teachers you will ever have. And unlike comfortable times, struggle leaves lessons you never forget. It carves discipline, patience, and resilience into you in a way that nothing else can. One of the biggest mistakes people make is waiting for struggle to end before they get serious. They think, once this is over, I'll be strong. Once things settle down, I'll focus. But the truth is, struggle is the training ground right now. If you wait for it to end, you miss the training. You build toughness not after the storm, but during the storm. Every hard day you face is an opportunity to sharpen your discipline. Every setback is a chance to practice persistence. Every failure is a chance to grow wiser. You do not need life to be easier. You need to become stronger. Struggle also reveals what you truly believe about yourself. It strips away the comfort that hides your weaknesses. When things are easy, you can pretend you are disciplined, focused, and confident. But when things get tough, the truth comes out. Do you give up quickly? Do you complain endlessly? Do you panic? Or do you stay steady, adapt, and keep moving? Struggle exposes your real strength level. That might feel uncomfortable, but it is valuable, because once you see where you are weak, you know exactly where to train. Another way struggle trains you is by teaching you endurance. Endurance is the ability to keep going when progress feels slow, when results are not visible, when everything in you wants to quit. Endurance is what separates those who stop from those who win. Struggle forces you to build endurance because it rarely goes away quickly. You might struggle for weeks, months, even years, but if you use that time to keep moving, you will build a toughness that nothing else can give you. And once you develop endurance, future struggles no longer scare you. Struggle also teaches humility. It reminds you that you are not invincible, that you have limits, that you need growth. This humility is not weakness, it is wisdom. Humility makes you teachable. It makes you open to learning. It makes you hungry for improvement. Many people become arrogant when life is easy, but struggle humbles them, and that humility, when combined with persistence, makes for unstoppable growth. There is another lesson in struggle: patience. We live in a world that wants instant results. People want fast success, quick recognition, immediate progress, but real growth does not work that way. Struggle slows you down. It forces you to take one step at a time. It demands patience, because progress is not visible overnight. And through that patience, you build a depth of character that instant results could never give you. A strong mind understands that what is built slowly through struggle lasts longer than what is built quickly through shortcuts. To use struggle as training, you must also avoid the trap of self-pity. Self-pity is a poison. It makes you believe that your pain is unique, that nobody else has suffered like you, that you are helpless. That mindset weakens you more than the struggle itself. The truth is, everyone faces difficulty. You are not alone in this, and while you cannot control every struggle you face, you can control your response. You can choose to rise instead of collapse. You can choose to grow instead of shrink. That choice is where toughness begins. Practical application matters here. The next time you face struggle, don't just endure it passively. Use it actively. If you fail at something, ask yourself what the failure is teaching you about your preparation. If you lose something important, ask yourself what it reveals about what you value most. If people disappoint you, ask yourself what it teaches about expectations and trust. Every struggle has a lesson, but only if you choose to look for it. Struggle also strengthens gratitude. When you go through hard times, you learn to appreciate the moments of peace and the wins you achieve later. Without struggle, gratitude is shallow. With struggle, gratitude is deep. You understand the value of progress because you know what it costs. That gratitude fuels you to keep going and reminds you that every victory, no matter how small, is worth celebrating. Another advantage of struggle is that it makes you fearless. Once you have survived enough pain, failure, and setbacks, future challenges no longer intimidate you. You've already been tested, you've already endured, and you know you can take more. That knowledge is priceless. It gives you a quiet confidence that others cannot understand. People who have avoided struggle look strong from the outside, but collapse when real tests come. People who have faced struggle and used it as training carry a resilience that scares others, because nothing seems to shake them. It's important to realize that struggle doesn't just build toughness, it sharpens focus. When life is hard, you learn to cut out the unnecessary. You stop wasting time. You stop entertaining distractions. You pour everything into survival and progress. That sharpened focus is a gift you carry even after the struggle ends. You learn to aim your energy at what matters and ignore the rest. That kind of clarity is rare, and it is often forged only in difficulty. There will be times when struggle feels unfair. You will wonder why others have it easier, why you had to face so much, why life gave you such a heavy load. In those moments, remember this: the weight you carry is shaping you. It is preparing you for something greater. The people who have it easy may look ahead now, but they will break later, because they never built toughness. You, on the other hand, will walk forward sharper, stronger, and unshakable because you trained through difficulty. The strongest people you know are not the ones who avoided pain. They are the ones who faced it, used it, and grew because of it. They turned wounds into wisdom, setbacks into lessons, failures into fuel. They understood that struggle is not the enemy. It is the classroom where strength is taught, and because they embraced it, they built a mind that no storm could brace. If you want to join them, you must change the way you see your own struggles. Stop resisting them. Stop seeing them as punishment. Start using them as practice. Practice patience. Practice endurance. Practice humility. Practice focus. Each struggle is a chance to get sharper, tougher, wiser, stronger, and each time you come through one, you carry a new layer of strength that stays with you forever. When you live this way, struggle stops frightening you. You stop running from it, and you start leaning into it. You begin to welcome it because you know what it gives you. And that shift is what separates strong minds from weak ones. Weak minds avoid, strong minds embrace. Weak minds complain, strong minds learn. Weak minds collapse, strong minds rise. This is the way you grow sharper and tougher, not by wishing life were easier, but by using every struggle as training. That mindset turns difficulty into power. It turns pain into progress. It turns setbacks into strength. And once you master this, nothing life throws at you will ever weaken you again. You will have built a mind so strong that struggle itself becomes your greatest weapon.
Chapter 8. Master your focus by finishing everything you start. Focus is the foundation of real strength. And the most powerful way to master focus is to make sure you finish everything you start. Most people begin projects, goals and habits with enthusiasm, but they quit when the first wave of resistance shows up. They are excited at the start, but they lose discipline in the middle, and they abandon the finish. This pattern weakens the mind. Every unfinished task teaches your brain that quitting is acceptable. Every dropped goal lowers your confidence a little more. But when you commit to finishing, no matter how long it takes, you train your mind to stay sharp, to stay steady, and to follow through. That kind of discipline builds focus at a level that others can feel. The reason most people fail to focus is not because they lack intelligence. It's because they train themselves to chase new starts without respecting the finish. Starting something gives a quick thrill. It feels fresh and motivating. But finishing requires patience, endurance, and sacrifice. This is where most minds collapse. They crave the excitement of new beginnings, but avoid the grind of follow-through. If you want to master focus, you must reverse this pattern. You must find your strength, not in beginning, but in completing. Each time you finish what you start, you build a layer of trust in yourself. You prove to your own mind that your word matters. You build a reputation with yourself that says, when I say I will do something, I do it. That trust is the foundation of confidence. Without it, your goals will always feel shaky. With it, your focus becomes unshakable, because once you trust yourself, distractions lose their power. You no longer chase every new shiny idea, because you are anchored by the commitment to finish what's already on your plate. Finishing everything you start also sharpens clarity. When you make finishing a non-negotiable rule, you become selective about what you begin. You stop wasting energy on meaningless pursuits. You ask yourself before starting, is this worth finishing? That question alone saves you from countless distractions. Weak minds start everything and finish nothing. Strong minds start less, but finish all. This is how you direct your energy into meaningful work instead of scattering it across endless half-done tasks. The discipline of finishing trains patience. Projects take longer than expected. Habits take months before results appear. Skills demand thousands of repetitions before mastery comes. If you abandon them halfway, you never experience the reward of patience. But when you stick with something long enough to see it through, you internalize a powerful lesson. Good things come to those who persist. That lesson makes you tougher. It gives you endurance. It makes your focus sharp, because you no longer expect instant results. One of the most damaging habits people develop is leaving things unfinished. They start reading a book and never complete it. They begin a workout routine and stop after 2 weeks. They launch an idea, but abandon it after the first setback. Each unfinished commitment leaves an open loop in the brain. That loop drains mental energy. It creates a sense of guilt, clutter, and scattered attention. But every time you close a loop by finishing, you free up energy. Your mind feels lighter. Your focus gets clearer,
and your discipline strengthens. To master focus, you must train yourself with small completions. Finish the chapter of the book before you close it. Finish the workout you set for yourself before leaving the gym. Finish the task you planned for the morning before moving to the next. These small completions build the habit of follow-through. Over time, finishing becomes part of your identity. You stop being someone who quits, and you become someone who closes every loop. That identity shift is powerful, and it is built one finished action at a time. Finishing what you start also separates you from the majority. Most people live in patterns of half effort. They are surrounded by unfinished business. Their homes are filled with projects they never completed. Their careers are littered with plans they abandoned. Their minds are cluttered with goals they never saw through. When you choose to finish, you immediately stand out. You become rare, because completion is rare, and that rarity gives you an edge in every area of life. Employers, partners, friends, everyone respects the person who can be counted on to finish. There is also a deep psychological reward in finishing. Every time you complete something, no matter how small, you build momentum. That momentum carries into the next task, and with each completion, your brain begins to crave more completions. You build a cycle of progress instead of a cycle of quitting. This cycle creates a level of focus that no amount of motivational talk can give you, because real focus is not built by excitement. It is built by the discipline of completion. Distractions will always try to pull you away. New opportunities, fresh ideas, tempting shortcuts, they will call for your attention. But you must train yourself to resist until you finish what is already in front of you. This does not mean you cannot explore new goals, but it means you earn the right to begin them only after completing the current one. That discipline keeps your focus sharp and your progress consistent. The mind becomes tougher with each completed commitment. When you finish, you develop resilience, because the path to finishing is never smooth. You face boredom, setbacks, fatigue, doubt, but by pushing through them to complete the task, you train yourself to overcome those obstacles instead of being defeated by them. This toughness carries into every area of life. You learn that no matter what challenges appear, you have the discipline to push until the end. That is the kind of mindset that scares people, because it cannot be broken easily. You must also remember that finishing is not about perfection. Many people abandon projects because they don't look perfect, but finishing is about closure, about proving to yourself that you can carry something to the end. Even an imperfect finish is better than endless unfinished beginnings. Perfection can be adjusted later, but the discipline of completion must be built now. Each imperfect finish builds more focus than another abandoned attempt. Another benefit of mastering focus through finishing is confidence under pressure. When you build the habit of finishing, you know you can rely on yourself. That self-reliance is powerful when challenges come. Instead of panicking, you stay calm, because you know that you have trained yourself to complete things no matter how hard they become. This quiet confidence is visible to others. They see it in your actions. They see it in your steady progress. They see it in the results you produce, and that presence alone makes them respect you. The world is full of distractions designed to scatter your focus. Social media, constant notifications, endless entertainment, they all pull you toward half attention. But when you live by the rule of finishing, you resist that pull. You stop leaving things halfway. You stop scattering yourself across dozens of shallow pursuits. You focus deep, finish strong, and move forward with clarity. That kind of discipline not only strengthens your mind, but also transforms your life. To begin mastering this today, choose one thing you have left unfinished. Pick it up. Push through the discomfort. Complete it. Do not move on until it is done. Then repeat the process with something else. Each completion adds weight to your focus. Each completion trains your mind to stay locked in. With time, you will notice a shift. You no longer crave new starts. You crave completions. And that craving builds momentum that carries into every area of your life. This habit, practiced daily, creates a mind that others cannot understand. While they are busy starting and quitting, you are building layer upon layer of strength through completion. They may look busy, but you are the one making real progress. They may talk about plans, but you are the one showing results. And results speak louder than words. When you consistently finish everything you start, your focus becomes unstoppable. Your presence becomes solid. Your discipline becomes undeniable. People will see it, they will feel it, and they will respect it, even if they don't say. Because a mind that always finishes what it begins is rare, and rarity commands respect. This is how you master your focus. Not by chasing motivation, not by relying on inspiration, but by building the daily discipline of finish. Finish the small tasks. Finish the big projects. Finish the habits you commit to. Do it again and again until completion becomes your identity. Once you reach that point, distractions lose their power, quitting loses its appeal, and your focus becomes sharper than ever. That kind of focus is strength, and that kind of strength is what builds a mind that cannot be ignored.
Chapter 9. Win small battles with yourself to gain real power. The biggest enemy you will ever face is not outside of you, it is inside. It is the voice that tempts you to quit when you should push. It is the urge to delay when you know action is needed. It is the desire to stay comfortable when you should step into discomfort. Most people lose these daily battles, and because of that, their lives never rise above mediocrity. If you want real strength, if you want real power, you must win the small battles with yourself. Each win builds confidence. Each win builds discipline. Each win builds momentum. The victories may look small, but over time they create a mind so powerful that nothing outside of you can control it. The small battles happen everywhere. They happen when the alarm rings and you must decide to get up or go back to sleep. They happen when you face a plate of unhealthy food and decide whether to give in or stay disciplined. They happen when you are tired at night and must choose between wasting hours on distractions or investing that time into your growth. These moments might not seem life-changing in the moment, but they are, because every decision you make sends a message to yourself about who you are becoming. Each time you win, you teach your mind that you can be trusted. Each time you lose, you teach your mind that weakness is acceptable. Most people underestimate how much small wins matter. They think they need one big success to change their life. But the truth is, real power is built through repeated victories in the little things. It is the choice to follow through when no one is watching. It is the decision to do one more repetition when you feel like stopping. It is the commitment to open the book and read even when your mind wants the easy escape. These small battles decide the future, because the way you handle small things is exactly how you will handle big things. If you cannot win over yourself in the little moments, you will not have the strength to win when the big tests come. Winning these battles requires awareness. You must notice when the battle shows up. Too many people live on autopilot, giving in to weakness without even realizing it. They say yes to comfort before they even recognize the decision being made. To change this, you need to slow down and catch the moment.
When the thought appears to skip your responsibility, recognize it as a battle. When the desire rises to choose ease over effort, recognize it as a battle. Awareness gives you the chance to decide instead of react. Once you are aware, the next step is to take control of your inner dialogue. When weakness speaks, strength must answer. If the voice says it's okay, you can skip today, respond with, no, I keep my promises. If the voice says this is too hard, answer, I am capable of handling hard things. This inner back and forth is not meaningless, it is the battlefield itself. The voice you feed is the one that wins, so you must feed the voice of strength until it becomes louder than the voice of weakness. The beauty of winning small battles is that each one adds to your self-respect. Self-respect is not given, it is earned by your own action. When you know you are someone who follows through, you walk differently, you speak differently, you think differently. That respect cannot be faked. It cannot be bought. It comes only from proving to yourself again and again that you can overcome the pull of weakness. And once you build it, nobody can take it from you. It is important to understand that you will not win every battle. There will be days you give in. There will be moments when weakness wins. But even those losses can be used if you learn from them. Do not excuse them, but analyze them. Ask yourself, why did I give in? What triggered me? What can I do next time to prepare better? By reflecting on the losses, you turn them into lessons. And with those lessons, you become stronger for the next fight. Consistency is the key. Winning one battle will not change your life. Winning hundreds over time will. This is how real power is built. It is not a one-time act. It is a repeated pattern. The more consistent you are, the easier it becomes. At first, the battles feel heavy. Getting up early feels like a war. Saying no to temptation feels like torture. But the more you do it, the lighter it gets. Your brain adapts, your habits form, your strength grows. And soon the victories that once felt difficult become automatic. That is when you know you have transformed. Each small victory also creates momentum. Momentum is a powerful force. It carries you forward even when you don't feel like moving. One good decision creates the next. One win creates the confidence for another. That momentum once built is hard to stop. But the opposite is also true. Lose enough battles in a row, and weakness builds its own momentum. That is why discipline must be guarded daily. You cannot afford too many losses in a row, because each one strengthens the wrong side. These battles are not just about discipline, they are about freedom. When you lose to weakness, you become a prisoner of your impulses. You are controlled by comfort, by distraction, by laziness. But when you win, you gain freedom. You are no longer a slave to urges. You are in control of your life. That freedom is one of the greatest forms of power. Because when you control yourself, nobody else can control you. Real strength is quiet. It does not need to shout. It does not need to show off. It shows up in the choices you make when no one is around. When people see you walking with confidence, they may not know the reason, but the reason is simple. You have been winning small battles in private. You have trained yourself to overcome weakness daily. That training builds a presence that others can sense. They feel it in your discipline, in your steadiness, in your reliability. That presence is power. To live this way, you must stop waiting for motivation. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. The small battles are often won not by feeling motivated, but by choosing discipline. Discipline is making the choice that aligns with your goals, even when you don't feel like it. Discipline is the muscle you build by winning battles over time. And just like any muscle, the more you train it, the stronger it gets. It's also important to celebrate the wins, no matter how small. Don't ignore them. If you woke up on time when your body wanted to sleep, that's a win. If you completed a task instead of procrastinating, that's a win. If you resisted a distraction and stayed focused, that's a win. Each victory deserves recognition because it reinforces the identity you are building. You are showing yourself proof that you are stronger than weakness, and with enough proof, belief grows. Over the course of weeks and months, these small victories accumulate into transformation. You wake up one day and realize you are no longer the same. The struggles that once defeated you are no longer threats. The temptations that once controlled you have lost their grip. You feel sharper, tougher, and more grounded. Others notice it too. They see the strength in your eyes, the steadiness in your actions, the calm in your presence. They may not know the exact battles you fought, but they see the result. This is the path to real power. Not power over others, but power over yourself. Because once you can lead yourself, no challenge outside of you can defeat you. The world respects the person who has self-control, who has discipline, who has the ability to stay steady when others fall apart. And that respect is not demanded. It is earned through the quiet, unseen victories of daily life. So do not underestimate the small battles. They are the foundation of a strong mind. Win them, and you create strength. Lose them, and you create weakness. The choice is yours every single day. The alarm clock, the workout, the food, the work, the distractions. These are the arenas where power is decided. Each time you win, you rise. Each time you rise, you grow. And over time you build a mind so strong, so disciplined, so unshakable, that people cannot help but notice. This is how you gain real power. Not by waiting for a big breakthrough, but by stacking up small victories every single day, until they form a fortress of strength around your mind.
Chapter 10. Rebuild your standards higher until weakness no longer feels normal. The life you live is shaped by the standards you set for yourself. Every choice, every action, every habit is connected to what you accept as normal. If your standards are low, weakness becomes your routine. If your standards are high, strength becomes your identity. The problem is that most people set their standards once and never raise them again. They get comfortable. They settle. They tell themselves that what they are doing is enough, even when they know deep down they are capable of more. But if you want to build a mind so strong it scares people, you must constantly rebuild your standards higher until weakness no longer feels normal. Look around, and you will see that people live according to what they tolerate. Some tolerate laziness. Some tolerate excuses. Some tolerate mediocrity. Over time, these things become familiar, and what is familiar becomes comfortable. The danger is that once weakness feels comfortable, it starts to feel normal. And once it feels normal, you stop fighting it. This is where people lose themselves. They don't collapse overnight. They lower their standards little by little until weakness is their way of life. A strong mind refuses to accept that. A strong mind keeps raising its standards so that what once felt acceptable now feels unworthy. Rebuilding your standards begins with honesty. You must look at your life and ask, what am I allowing that is holding me back? Maybe it's the way you spend your mornings. Maybe it's the way you give up when things get tough. Maybe it's the way you treat your health. Maybe it's the way you waste time on distractions instead of investing it into growth. You already know the answers. The question is whether you will face them or continue to hide behind excuses. Once you face the truth, you can decide to raise the bar. When you raise your standards, you demand more from yourself. You stop accepting effort that is half-hearted. You stop justifying habits that weaken you. You stop tolerating actions that keep you from growing. This shift does not happen all at once, but with each small change you make, your life begins to shift.
For example, if your standard has been to exercise twice a week, raise it to 4. If your standard has been to waste 2 hours a day on distractions, cut it to 30 minutes. If your standard has been to read 1 book a month, push for 3. Each time you rebuild the standard higher, you condition your mind to expect more of itself. The danger of low standards is that they create a false sense of comfort. You convince yourself you are doing fine because you are doing more than the average person. But the average person is not the measure of greatness. The average person is stuck, struggling, and far from their potential. If you measure yourself against them, you will stay average too. Instead, measure yourself against your own potential. Ask, am I living as the strongest version of myself? Am I demanding enough of my time, my energy, my focus? If the answer is no, it's time to raise your standards. This process is not about perfection. It is about growth. Each time you rebuild your standards, you outgrow your old self. What once felt hard becomes your new normal. Waking up early, staying disciplined, focusing deeply, these things no longer feel extraordinary. They feel expected, and when weakness shows up again, it feels out of place. You no longer accept it as part of who you are. That is the goal, to make weakness feel foreign and strength feel natural. The mind adapts quickly to whatever you feed it. If you keep feeding it excuses, it gets used to them. If you keep feeding it high standards, it rises to meet them. At first, raising your standards will feel uncomfortable. You'll resist. You'll want to go back to what feels easier. But if you persist, the discomfort fades. Your new standard becomes your new baseline, and once it does, you must raise it again. That is how you grow without end. One of the keys to rebuilding your standards is to stop negotiating with yourself. Weak minds constantly negotiate. They say, I'll skip this once. I'll start tomorrow. I'll just lower the target. Each negotiation lowers the bar. Each negotiation builds weakness. A strong mind makes decisions and then treats them as final. If you decide to wake up early, you wake up early. If you decide to train, you train. No debates, no excuses. That firmness rebuilds your standards faster than anything else. Another way to raise your standards is to change your environment. If you are surrounded by people who accept weakness, you will too. But if you put yourself around people who demand more, who live with discipline, who strive for growth, your standards naturally rise. You begin to see what is possible, and you refuse to accept less for yourself. This is why strong people are careful about who they spend time with. They know that environment shapes standards, and standards shape destiny. Raising your standards also requires clarity of vision. You must know what kind of person you want to become. Without a clear vision, it is easy to drift back into weakness. Write down your vision. Define your values. Decide what kind of life you want to live. Then align your standards with that vision. If your vision is to be strong, healthy, disciplined, and successful, then your standards must reflect that daily. Every choice you make must be tested against that vision. Does this align, or does it weaken me? The beauty of high standards is that they create automatic growth. When you demand more of yourself, you naturally take actions that build strength. You no longer need to force progress. It becomes inevitable. Each day, you live by higher standards. You rise a little higher, and over time, those small rises turn into transformation. People look at you and see someone who is sharper, tougher, more focused. They may call it discipline, but the truth is simple. You stopped tolerating weakness, and you raised your standards until strength became your baseline. Rebuilding your standards is not about chasing perfection or impressing others. It is about building a life where you can respect yourself. It is about looking in the mirror and knowing you did not settle, that you did not waste your potential, that you demanded the best from yourself. That kind of respect cannot be taken from you. And it is one of the deepest sources of inner power. As you live this way, weakness becomes uncomfortable. Laziness feels unnatural. Excuses feel out of place. You can no longer tolerate them. Not because someone told you not to, but because you have rebuilt your standards so high that they no longer fit who you are. That is when you know your mind has changed. That is when you know you have built strength at a level most people never reach. This is how you finish building a mind so strong it scares people. You refuse to live by low standards. You refuse to accept weakness as normal. You keep rebuilding your standards higher, day by day, year by year, until strength becomes your natural state. Others will notice. They will see a person who does not bend, who does not settle, who does not tolerate weakness. They will feel your strength before you speak a word. And that strength will set you apart, because it was built by choice, not by chance. The work never ends. As long as you live, you must keep raising the bar. Because the moment you stop, weakness begins to creep back in. So make it your way of life. Always raise, always grow, always demand more. Do this, and weakness will never feel normal again. What will feel normal is strength, discipline, and focus. That is the life of someone who has built a mind that cannot be broken.